Mr. Bridges, you're a drill operator, and Mr. Keelan, you're a former blaster, as I put down here. So you're recognized, Jordan, for your opening remarks.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman Calvin, and ranking members of this subcommittee. Thank you for the opportunity for me to speak here. This testimony is intended to discuss the Environmental Protection Agency and the administration's abuse of the rules set in place. I'm testifying about the devastating effects that the EPA's regulatory overreach against the coal industry is having on my family, my friends, and my co-workers. The EPA, to me, has no regard for the consequences of its own regulatory regulations and the effects that it has on the economy. There are thousands of people who have lost their jobs, and there are no other jobs in our area to fill the need. I mean, there's people laid off and there's no other jobs for them to get. These are hard-working people that we're losing our homes, we're losing the ability to provide for our families, and it's our livelihood. This agency's regulations are forcing people to relocate and infringing upon our rights as American citizens to choose a place where we want to live and work. When the jobs are there, they're just taking it from us. The downfall of the coal industry not only affects us coal miners, but there's other jobs and companies as well that are affected because of this. They exist because of us. They manufacture supplies, parts, equipment, just specifically for our industry, and they're all suffering. I have many friends or families own machine shops, as we call them. They are worried about their jobs. At this rate, there's not going to be nothing left, at least in southern West Virginia, Kentucky, what parts of Pennsylvania. I mean, coal is the life source there. Retraining has not been offered to us directly. There's nobody come out and said we're going to retrain you for a certain position, as the EPA has stated before. How are you supposed to do that and support families during the process of being retrained? If I go to have retraining, I'm going to lose everything that I've worked for because there's nobody to pay my bills. They've not accounted also for the unemployment. I think that the statistics are wrong on that as far as unemployment numbers. Once you receive all the benefits that you can receive, you drop off the radar. You are no longer counted on unemployment as a statistic on there. So there's the actual unemployment rate, to my knowledge, is higher because there's other people that fell off the job market, no longer able to find a job and can't find a job, so they have nowhere to turn but to lose everything they have, maybe ask for a parent or somebody to help them, grandparents. There's many men and women that have spent the majority of their lives in this industry, and they're at the retirement age of 55. And they're unable to retire. How are they able to restart their life over? I mean, they're not able to. I mean, all they know is coal mining, deep mining, underground, or surface, what have you, anything to do with it. They're at the retirement age, but they can't afford to retire. You cannot retrain somebody that's been in that industry for 40-some years to do another job, to make a living. And I don't think they should have to. I mean, the jobs are there, and they just need to be able to work. Safety is a priority for the industry. We strive to be as environmentally friendly as possible. There has to be a balance. It's a balance between doing what's best for the environment and best for us. You cannot expect families to suffer and to go without food and shelter and supplies to save a goldfish or a tree. I mean, to me, that my life, my daughter over here, my wife, and my future baby is more important than any tree or fish in the water. I don't care. I mean, we're not hurting them, but that's more important to me, and I think that should be noted as far as that's concerned. Strip mining is repeatedly attacked as being an eyesore, as being destructive and cruel. But the fact is, once mining is done, the land can be used for many different things. We plant trees, we plant grass. The land can be used for schools, which it has been. Mingo County Central High School is on a reclaimed surface mine. You can use them for factories. We have a wood factory up on 22 Mine Road in Logan County. orchards. We have apple trees up on certain jobs. There's just deer flourish up there. They run around. It's amazing. We got cattle up on there. The United States Air Force training facility is also relocated on a reclaimed surface mine in Logan County, West Virginia. Y'all ought to check that out. Or we can just put it back the way it was. The EPA don't want us to do that, and they're fighting against us. But while they continue to make assumptions from behind a desk, I invite you and everybody else in the Congress to come see it for yourself. If you want to come see the effects that the surface mine has, you just come see it for yourself. I'll be glad to show you around. And you can't see it from behind a desk, and EPA can make anything sound good on paper, but until you come see the families that are hurting in southern West Virginia, I think it's something that needs to be really considered when they make these regulations. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Bridges. Is it Keelan? Keelan, thank you. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman Calvert and Ranking Member McCollum, and members of this subcommittee. Thank you for the opportunity. My name's Doug Killen. I'm the father of 7, me and my wife. We have 3 children of our own. We've 2 adopted, and then we've got 2 other foster children. We care about a lot of the kids. One of the things that we're also here today is speak about the Environmental Protection Agency and its war on coal. I'm employed at Hobet Mining in West Virginia. At that mine alone, we've lost 150 men and women since 2005. And it's all because of the EPA and their regulatory overreach. The EPA has always downplayed their impact their actions have on jobs, but if they'd come to West Virginia, they'd just see how much we're suffering due to their actions. In West Virginia alone, 2,500 surface miners have lost their jobs since 2005. Our state can't absorb those jobs. We as miners have fought many struggles and through many adversities. We're a tough breed. We're proud of our work and our traditions. Our fathers, grandfathers, and great-grandfathers have all been miners in West Virginia. We've went from spending script at the company store living as rats to we have now built ourselves up through better wages, better living. We're sending our kids to college. I mean, we're buying stuff that we can make our own. We can be proud again. I mean, we're coal miners, and that's something that we want to do. Now with all the cutbacks and the closing at the mines, we're forced to take lower paying jobs, or worse, sign up on government assistance, or move out of West Virginia. And it's a beautiful state. We all love it. We're proud. Like I said, we're a proud bunch. I've watched my brother. He's moved out for work. My family's business dwindled. You know, I've got friends, their businesses closed down. Whole towns in West Virginia have turned into ghost towns now with the cutbacks and the layoffs and the mine closings. I mean, West Virginia, the EPA has just done so much. They're asking for a $500 million increase in their budget. I know y'all know that. And I know $27 million of that is spent just on lawyers. You know, the budgets continue to fight coal production, its companies and its workers. Patriot's company where I work at has filed for bankruptcy. They're fighting back out of it now. I mean, we've done a little bit of everything. They've spent tens of millions of dollars on selenium containment. The regulations promoted by the EPA's policy has driven our price of production through the roof. In any business, to manage costs in order to stay profitable or in employee workers. In order to be cost-effective mine, we all have to watch cost. But unfortunately, the EPA, with all their rules and regulations, they're driving the cost just, I mean, it just keeps going up and up, and we can't be we cannot be competitive in this global market. I mean, China and everybody else is mining coal, and it's not working with us. They're adding so much money to our production cost. It's just impossible. As they increase our costs, it forces a lot of mines to go out of business, like I said. I'm here today to ask, on behalf of all the West Virginians, that just please fight for us. The EPA continue to destroy our livelihoods. It's been said in here enough. You know, like I said, I'm a foster parent. We're spending money through budgets on stuff that's overregulated the way it is on the EPA side of it. You know, let's spend it on these kids, because with the downsizing the mines and the cutbacks, the kids is who loses out. Families struggle, kids get neglected, they get put off to the side. You know, some people's not, you know, just, and let's spend our money on these kids. Let's spend our money to build the livelihoods back for these families. You know, that's one of the things we're trying to do is just, with them overstepping their bounds, you know, the EPA's retroactively vetoed already. We've got mining permits out there that's been permitted, and then they go right back and they're jerking the permits away from those families. You know, they 2 or 3 times this has happened. They've issued everything. The Army Corps of Engineers, everybody has signed off on these permits, and then they're just going back and saying no. The EPA is saying no, we're not going to do it. Families, in our mind, I mean, it would create so much with these permits. You know, we get back to having a life for ourselves. I would just like to thank the committee for giving me this chance to speak with all my heart. Respectfully, I ask that you look to fund the core functions of the EPA that they have traditionally known and worked along. They are overstepping their reach and hurting the fine men and women of West Virginia and their families. We as coal miners have changed everything we've done in the past. We've changed it for the EPA. We're not asking for special treatment, just for a fair chance. Like I said, I'm a coal miner like my many brothers and sisters at the mines. All we want to do is continue to mine our coal and make a living for our family. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your testimony. I can feel the pain from, I'd like to get out there. I'd like to, I know some of the members see what's going on out there, and you see an industry like that, the base industry, which multiplies itself throughout the economy, not just in West Virginia or Pennsylvania or other coal-producing states, but throughout the United States. And it's a sad situation. But Ms. McCullum?
Just thank you very much for your testimony, John.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Mike? God bless you. Mr. Jenkins?
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, let me just express my appreciation. You know, I'm proud to be sitting here, and of course Chairman Rogers had, I think, Mr. Byrd, Doug, and Jordan are my constituents, and you know, to get the invitation, Mr. Chairman, that you provided means a lot to them. And they, over these last few weeks getting ready, they've thought about what they would say. But as much as anything, I think part of this opportunity is what they heard. And your comments of concern, I know that was important to them, so thank you. And to Chairman Rogers, whose opening remarks, similarly, I think not only can Doug and Jordan, you know, feel good for having represented a voice from West Virginia, they also heard a level of caring. And to the ranking member, thank you as well. So this was important, and then you know, to have their families here. As you know, Mr. Chairman, a couple of weeks ago, I challenged Secretary McCarthy, come to West Virginia. Come to West Virginia and hear from West Virginians. And she can't bring herself, candidly, to say yes. Well, it was important, as you've provided this opportunity, that we brought West Virginia voices to Washington, and to have their voices heard before this important committee that is going to have an impact on the purse strings, and I'll say it, a war on coal. So I appreciate your leadership, Mr. Chairman, and for Chairman Rogers of the full committee, and to Doug and to Jordan, to their wives, to Gracie and their family. We're honored to have you, and thank you for your voice here today. I'm sorry that Secretary McCarthy won't come to West Virginia, but we're glad you were here to have heard in Washington. So thank you.
testimony